Hi, everybody. All right, let me go live on Instagram as well. Let's see if I can do this. You are live. Good. Go live. It's all happening. Hi, everybody. Oh, and now I got to do it on the TikTok too. Tell you what, one of these days, it's still just so amazing to me that we get to do this, right? Lad, go live. Hey, everybody, it's Sam Bennett from therealsambennett.com, and welcome to this weekly live. I love having this time with you. I think it's amazing that we all show up for this and take a minute to think about what is going on in our lives and how can we make it better? How can you take the things that really matter to you and make sure that they are getting done? How can you stop feeling the pressure from all the other things and start leaning into that which is graceful and natural and easy for you? Because I'm here to tell you, the things that are easy for you are the things you should be making the most money at, are the things that should be bringing you the most joy. And if you are not making time for those things in your life, we need to adjust that. We're going to be talking today about intuition, yours, mine, everybody else's. But first, let's start with our breathing. You know, that's how I like to start. Everything I do. I like to start everything I do with a little breathing. So we're going to let our belly go really poochy soft. And we're going to inhale for a count of 4, hold for a count of 7, exhale for a count of 8. We'll do that 3 times. You could ignore it if you want. But most people find it to be really, really pleasant. It can be an excellent break for your day. So especially you guys on TikTok, I know the temptation is to keep scrolling, but do the breathing and see. Then, obviously, doesn't do what you want, but I think you'll like it. All right, you ready? Let's inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Thank you. Thank you for doing that with me. Hi, James. Hi, Yee. How you doing? Hey, Peggy, Ariane, Lori, great to see you all. If you are on some of the platforms, I can see your comments come through StreamYard, and some of them I can't. So I will try to circle back if you write something and I don't see it or respond to it. Don't take it personally. It's just that it doesn't show up on my feed. I'm so glad we got to do that breathing thing. Hi, Joyce. Hi, Trish. Because it leads me right into this topic of intuition. When I started teaching online, well, at first it was on the telephone, instant teleseminar. You guys remember instant teleseminar? That's what we used back in the day. And it was a new technology, and it was amazing to do these large conference calls. But I had been so used to working in rooms, where I could see everybody's faces and I could see if they were struggling or having difficulty or having a question. And hey, Danielle, I'm so glad you're here. And so teaching on the telephone, all of a sudden I couldn't see them. I couldn't hear them unless they raised their hand to ask a question. So I really had to start to lean in a lot more into my intuition and trust that I could feel when I needed to take more time with something, or when they were feeling sort of over it, or when I needed to go deeper. It really caused me to, first of all, have to trust you all a lot more, that if you were having a problem or a question, you would say something to me about it. And not micromanage the way I could in a room. But also, like I said, really lean into my intuition. And I started doing this breathing thing for a couple of reasons. One was to center myself. And you'll see when I do this, some people say, like, Sam, are you doing an energy healing on us when you do that breathing? And I'm like, maybe. Sure, why not? Breath is energy. You're healing yourself. Absolutely. But when I do those 3 breaths, here's what I'm doing. The first breath is to center me, to set aside this time from other time in my life, to focus myself in, and to really call down the divine, to really lean in to the unknown, to trust the spirit and the energy and the movement of all the things that's bringing us together. So that's step 1. That's the first breath, is me allowing myself full access to my intuition, to divine knowing, to whatever you want to call it. And I'm curious what you guys call it. Pookie Wookie, that's the cutest name ever. Hi. So hey, Crystal, how's it going? So that's 1, calling in the divine into myself, reminding myself of the full access to information that I actually have that goes beyond just my frontal lobe, right? Hi, Sandra. The second breath is to create sort of a psychic room for all of us. Because for those of you who are here live, those of you who are maybe watching a recording or tuning in later, to just sort of create a space in which we can all be together in sort of a time out of time way. And tune into that room, see if I can't feel things. Sometimes, especially with an ongoing group, I can sort of feel into where everybody's at a little bit with that. Jennifer, Mark, Sandra, Kimmy, Rhonda, how's it going, everybody? So great to see you all. Hi, Karen. Oh, I'm so glad you're here. And then the third breath is just to trust that everything that needs to be said will be said, and everything that needs to be heard will be heard. Right? Again, getting over my own desire to micromanage, my own desire to have everything be perfect. It's like, I'm not in charge of perfect. I'm in charge of showing up and doing what I can do in the best way that I know how to do it. As are you. So I'm curious, for you, what do you call that, whatever it is, psychic, intuition, knowing, vibe, hints, smells, feelings, gong, goosebumps? Like, what do you call that? What's the name you use to call it? Because I have a lot of trouble calling it anything. Partly because I don't really distinguish between the knowing that I can't explain why I know and the knowing that I actually know. Hey, Catherine. Oh, thanks, everybody. When you guys hit the likes on that TikTok, that does a lot for me. So just so you know, you're helping other people find us together. So what do you call it? What words do you use for it? Do you call it your intuition? Do you call it your inner wisdom? Do you call it, hi, Catherine. What do you, either internally or externally? Veronica says, when I'm feeling less woo, free association for fun and profit. When I'm feeling more woo, mediumship. I like mediumship. That's good, right? Because I mean, I know it has an association of communicating with people who have died or passed on to the other side, but I also like being the medium, the thing through which things pass through, right? Lori says, I use the word intuition, and it's the spiritual experience that is happening. Yes, yes. Ariane says, knowing facts is different from the knowing that comes from source. Exactly, right? And this is why I sort of like intuition, because pretty much everybody agrees that there is such a thing as intuition. Everybody pretty much agrees that they have such a thing, or they have an experience of such a thing, and it doesn't necessarily have any spiritual or woo associations for people. I remember having not quite argument, but a heated conversation for sure with a friend of mine who was like, psychics are all bullshit. I don't know why anybody falls for that kind of bullshit. That's so crazy. They're lying. It's cheap. It's wrong. It's criminal. And I'm like, whoa, pal, slow your roll. First of all, there's criminals everywhere. That is not an industry specific accusation. So hi, Amanda. So my curiosity is around this knowing, right? And I said, look, here's what I know. I am a fairly sensitive person. I'm pretty sensitive to emotions, mine and everybody else's. And I'm an actor. This is what actors do. We are very interested in feelings. We're interested in our feelings. We're interested in other people's feelings. And raise your hand if this is you. This just happened to me the other day. I was in the midst of a very strong emotion. I was very upset. I was sobbing in a way that I had not sobbed in a long time. I was sobbing. And even as I was sobbing, there were two parts of me. One was the actor part of me that was going, oh, I should remember this for later. Because that's what actors do. When we're having a strong emotion, we're like, oh, I got to remember what this feels like and how my body is so that if I ever need to recreate it on screen or on film, I can do it realistically. I have to remember how this feels. And the other part of me was the personal development part that was going, oh, this is very good, Sam. You really needed this cry. This is a good cry for you. So it's like there's the me that's in the moment and there's these two commentators also. But I said, I know that I'm fairly sensitive to people's feelings and my own feelings. So it would not surprise me. And I know that I am more sensitive maybe than some other people. So other people aren't sensitive. They have trouble reading people's expressions. They don't immediately, get other people's feelings. So it certainly would not surprise me that if I'm fairly sensitive and I know that there are people who are less sensitive to feelings, that there are people who are more sensitive to feelings, that are picking up more bits of information. And whether it's reading micro expressions or identifying micro patterns or past life or spiritual forces unnamed, I don't know. I don't know. None of us know. But what I do know is that every culture throughout all of human time knows what it is, experiences it. And that's when I know things are true. If it's something that has happened to everybody throughout all time, throughout all cultures, throughout all human history, then it's something. I don't know if there's such a thing as ghosts, but I know that every culture has a story about ghosts. So there's something we're telling a story about, right? That's where I get really interested. Hi, Pamela. So... hi, Colleen, Shay, Catherine, great to see you. Artist creator, you're in the right place. So make a little note for yourself about what do you call that? What do you call that knowing? What do you call that intuition? I often make the joke that, nice girls from Chicago don't say psychic. We say I'm very intuitive. And I also always want to be really careful that I'm not making claims that I can't substantiate. I know some people apprentice to learn more about their mystical and psychic gifts. I know some people study for years. I know some people read a lot of books. I know some people go to other psychics and get training sort of by being in the patient chair. I have done none of these things. I've never had a psychic reading. I've never been to a psychic. I've never, except my friends, who many of whom do have amazing abilities. So I never want to make claims to know things that I don't know. On the other hand, I find that intuition is a pretty baseline human thing. So I don't mind saying that I'm intuitive, right? I will say that one of the ways that my intuition shows up for me, that the way my psychic powers shows up for me is it feels like knowing. And I understand that this is in the psychic world known as claircognizance, right? There's clairvoyance, there's clairaudience, there's different kinds of different kinds of knowing. Mine tends to show up as claircognizance. It just feels like I know. And when I first started working with people, especially working with people one-on-one, I would sometimes say things to them about their situation or about what was going on. And they'd be like, wait, how do you know that? I didn't tell you that. How do you know that? And I was always a little taken aback, like, I don't know how I know. I just know. I mean, of course I know. You told me. You must have told me. Somebody told me. I don't know. I know. I know it like I know you're sitting here. Like, I just know. And it got me in trouble once or twice where I sort of overstepped. I said things that people maybe weren't entirely ready to hear or that I didn't feel like I had permission to say. And maybe that's happened to you too. I remember when I was in high school, I got this deck of tarot. Do you guys know this? This is the Woman Mother Peace round tarot deck. You can see it's all beat up. I've had it for years. I got it in high school as a Christmas present, and we were away as a family. And so I was like, oh, tarot, well, that seems like fun. And so I started doing tarot readings for my family. And I got to my mother's boyfriend and started reading his tarot. And I was like, I am seeing things here that I don't think I should know about. I am not comfortable having this information or having this conversation with him because I'm 15 and he's my mother's boyfriend. And this is not, and I put them away. I was like, I wasn't afraid of it. I just felt like, no, this is like, it was like looking in somebody's underwear drawer or something. I was like, oh no, that's not for me. And I put them away for a long time. Dagmar says she has the same. Oh, yay. Yeah, they're great. I really enjoy them. And mostly what I love is I just love stories. I think everything is true and I love stories. So I never do tarot readings for anybody else, but I do them for myself sometimes. And it's a lot of fun. I feel the same way with astrology, with all kinds of different practices, some of which have more or less, basis in whatever, or I have a more or less understanding or knowing of. But what I really love are the stories. And that's what I love about intuition, is that it sometimes can invite you into a new story. And that's what I want you to do today, is to invite yourself into a new story. I will also say that most performers, you almost never have to convince a performer that there is such a thing as telepathy or psychic communication or intuition or knowing or whatever, because we do it all the time on stage. There's, if I'm on stage with you in a play or improvising, there's the things that we're saying to each other and the things that we're doing on stage, but there's also this whole other silent conversation we're having about the show. This whole like, oh, are you going to put the mug down over on the table? Or are you going to set it? Oh, you're putting it on the table. Okay, cool. Oh, I got to change into the frog costume. Do you musicians, I'm sure, do it when they're jamming. They're like jamming along, doing the show. It's all great. But they're also having these conversations about like, are you seeing that person in the third row? What is up with them? It all goes unspoken, but there's a very deep and fairly loud conversation happening that is very separate from what is actually being said and done on stage. It's kind of fun. Anyway, the point of all this is partly to remind yourself about your own intuitive properties. And if there is something you're struggling with, or something that's especially a recurrent problem, a patterned problem, you might want to try some of your own favorite divination practices. Some people like pendulums, some people like palmistry, some people there's hand analysis, which is different than palmistry. There's tarot, there's runes, there's I Ching, there's, just free drawing, just creative drawing. Let yourself access that knowing without knowing. Let your higher wisdom speak to you. Because more than once, I have been all up in my own business about something that's not going the way I think it should, or something that I'm upset about. And when I actually calm down and try to access this other kind of wisdom, sometimes I get a voice that says, it doesn't matter. And I'm like, wait, but it does matter. It's my bank account. It's my business. It's my lover. It's my friend. It's like, not relevant. I'm like, oh, who would I be if I felt this wasn't relevant? That's interesting. Or sometimes I get that, like, get to work. Do it now. Oh, okay. Enough thinking. Do it now. Okay. Right. And I find to me, my higher wisdom, my is often very sort of brief and clear like that. Doesn't say much. She tends to be quite pithy. Sometimes I picture her as like an old grandmama on a front porch somewhere, like going like, yep, nope, do it, shut up about it already, like quit complaining, quit your bitching. My spiritual knowing is not often very kind, or not often very sort of friendly, but wise, very wise. So all this is to say, I have started offering a sort of soul intuitive circle And it's a way for us to get together, be in circle together, and I just offer, you can ask me whatever questions you want, and I give you whatever answers I can. That's really how that goes. It's pretty straightforward. I did it once or twice as part of a group. I've done it in live groups. I've done it when I do my retreats to Majorca, to Crete. I've done it in person. But now I'm starting to offer it to you all. So here, this is not a very pretty link. I didn't get a chance to make a pretty link out of this. But you can check out the next Soul Intuitive session. There's the link. And here's what I'm doing with this. Oh, Veronica made me one. Thank you. therealsambennett.com/soul. There it is. therealsambennett.com/soul. SOUL. Thank you. So it's been great. People really seem to love it and get a lot out of it. And I love doing it. Like I said, there's no promises made. I will answer every question with the fullness of my knowledge and wisdom and information, whether I know the source of that information or not. I will always tell you the truth. And it's a full-on $47. But if you'd rather not pay the $47, you can use the coupon code. I think it's no charge, and it will zero out the thing. So you don't have to pay anything if you don't want to. Karen says, mine shows up when she feels like it, and I can count on one hand how many times her wisdom has totally blown me away. I'm always wondering how I can inspire her to show up when I ask her to. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. So how could you cultivate that voice more? How could you lean in more? Could you think of it, as Veronica was saying, as more of free association? Could you think of yourself as the bridge? So it's not so much that this source of wisdom is showing up or not showing up, but rather that she's always there. And it's just a question of whether or not you are crossing the bridge to get to there. I sometimes will do right hand, left hand, right? I'll ask a question with my dominant hand because I write with my right hand, and then let it answer with my less dominant hand, which my less dominant handwriting, of course, looks like a deranged kindergartner. But that's okay. Again, it keeps it pithy and often funny. I like what a good sense of humor my intuition sometimes has. So I'm curious, Amber, Chloe, Steph, what's going on? How are you guys? How is this all landing for you? Is it reminding you? Are there things that you like to notice? I have a little friend group on WhatsApp, and we all claimed a little sign, something we like as a sign. Like a friend of mine likes hummingbirds. Whenever she sees a hummingbird, she feels like, okay, there's something here for me. There's a message. I'm loved. I'm safe. Somebody else likes cardinals. I like the numbers 222. And here in Connecticut, it happens to be 222 right this very second, which is also my birthday, by the way, 222. So now you can hack my life because you know my birthday. You knew it already. It's on Facebook. Good. So please, if you're interested, please check out the Soul Intuition session. Check out therealsambennett.com/soul, SOUL. Like I said, it's $47. I'm not making a fortune off of this. But I wanted to charge something because I felt like, if you don't charge, people don't take it seriously. That's why. And I wanted you to know that there's a safe space for you and your intuition to ask questions, to be in the mystery together, to put the puzzle pieces together in maybe a slightly less linear way. And plus it's fun. And I like things that are fun. So if you would like to join me for that, I hope that you will. If you have a friend that you think might enjoy it, I hope you'll invite them. Like I said, you can also you don't have to pay anything. You can zero it out. I did that partly because you may not feel comfortable paying for something like that. It may feel like, well, if it's a spiritual gift, why are you charging for it? I don't think there's a differentiation between spiritual gifts and other gifts. I don't think there's a differentiation. I don't think money cares where it goes. Money just goes places, you know. But I get it that other people have other feelings about it. I also remember when I didn't have $47. So I wanted to make it available for everybody. So I'm going to keep playing around with this. I may do it again. It may or may not be the same price going forward. It's just a one-time thing, and we're not going to record it. You have to be there live. It's a one-time thing. Does he get paid for his job? Well, that's an excellent point, Lynn. Yes, exactly. It's work for me, therefore I should get paid. It's joyful work, it's fun work, it's inspired work, and it's still work. I'm still tired at the end of the day. So yeah, I agree. That's very funny. Yeah, I don't show up at your office and tell me you should do your thing for free. So, but it's also $47. So, good. Anything anybody wants to say or share now? I just really wanted to take this opportunity. You know, I love to talk to you once a week about the tools that you already have, right? The things, and your inner knowing is one of those tools. Your inner wisdom. The other thing I will add, just from a health and safety perspective, there's a guy named Gavin DeBecker who's a security safety specialist. He wrote a book called The Gift of Fear, which is an excellent book if you're interested in that book. But one of the things he talks about is that in his career as a security provider, how many people he talks to who have been the victim of some kind of assault or crime, and how often they say, and this is not to blame the victim in any way, shape, or form, ever, never, but there's a pattern of people saying, gosh, you know, I didn't really want to get into the elevator with that person. Or I saw them out of the corner of my eye and I just got a little feeling. Or I didn't like that building, or I didn't like that office. I didn't like the way that person was looking at me. Right. Notice you don't have that feeling about everything. If you do, that's a different situation. But, you know, that feeling like, well, but I didn't want to be rude, or I didn't want to seem like I was afraid, or I didn't want to, you know, oh, go ahead and listen. Even if it makes you feel foolish, don't get in that Uber if you feel yucky about it. Don't let that person buy you a drink if you don't want them to, you know. Understand that one of the ways your intuition communicates with you is through a sense of fear or foreboding. I'll tell you one more story about intuition. It's just kind of funny. When I was visiting colleges, I came to visit Wesleyan, which was kind of high on my list. I thought I might really like Wesleyan. And I went alone. I don't know, parents didn't really go. It wasn't really a thing. Maybe they did. Maybe just my parents didn't. Anyway, I pull up to the gate. I flew to Connecticut. I pull up to the gate. And as I drive onto the campus, everything in my body is going, nope, 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 no, 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 no. And I was like, wow, okay, apparently this is not my place. And then I had this interview where they're like, so why do you feel like you would be a valuable addition to the Wesleyan community? And I'm like, I gotta go. Thank you. Like the whole thing is such a blur to me because I was so freaked out by the power of the do not go here vibe. I have no idea to this day what that was about. I did not attend Wesleyan. I didn't even apply. But yeah, sometimes it can be sort of comical. Lori says, I do my own tarot reading each morning and meet with another once a week to read, learn, and share. Oh, that's fun. What a great development. Lucy says, yes. Pamela says, I absolutely have had that feeling getting into an elevator with only me and a man I don't know. And then I get right out. Don't care if he's offended. Have to feel safe. Yes. Peggy says, I felt our restaurant was going to be robbed before it happened. Yeah. Yeah. So know what you know. Know what you know. And, I referenced earlier that sometimes I would get myself in trouble by saying things to people that it didn't seem like I had any reason or right to know. And I've gotten a little better now at framing things up by saying things like, I'm just going to guess, but maybe, or do you sometimes feel like, or I'm just having this sort of hit, or I'm getting sort of a download. And sometimes, and I'll say this on the 8th too, when we do the soul intuitive circle, sometimes I get a hit and it's not you and I are talking, but it's not actually for you, it's for the person next to you. So take what's useful and toss away what's not, just like everything, right? But really, I encourage you to lean into your wisdom, your knowing, especially about the things that feel hard or problematic to you, Pamela says, thank you for pointing that out. Love your authenticity. Well, my pleasure. I am happy to share this time with you. I love it that you guys show up for this. I love it that I show up for this. I want to thank you all. Hi, French. Hi, Ricky. For being here. Let's do one more breath, shall we, to close out this circle. Please go to therealsambennett.com/soul, SOUL, and enroll yourself in our little soul intuitive circle. See how it unfolds to you. And I have a belief, a spiritual belief, that says that the universe is a benign and benevolent place. And even when things happen that aren't pleasant or aren't things that we would pick, there is still a loving spirit behind it all. So I encourage you to lean into that loving spirit and that loving knowing in whatever way that comforts you. Yeah. Karen says you pretty much just quoted me just now. Karen, we're twinsies for sure. All right, everybody, let's go. Let's do mystical orchids. Oh my gosh, that's a great name. Let's do one more breath to close out this circle and this time together. I hope that I'll see you at our Soul Intuitive Circle, therealsambennett.com/soul. And I thank you for your support in this. I'm kind of coming out of the closet as a whatever this is. And so I'm excited that you're doing this with me. Thank you for being a safe space for me to share all the things. You ready? Let's inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Thank you. Thank you for doing this with me. Know what you know. Know what you know.